Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another Spooktober episode of We Watch Shorts, a subset of We Watch Shudder. My name is JD, and who's here with me?
It's Michelle with all of her cats, and they have the zoomies.
It's Michelle. I don't know why I started this. I'm gonna stop that right away, guys.
That's exactly what I sound like.
If this is the first time you're tuning in, thank you. So show normally is called We Watch Shudder. We watch new exclusive and original releases on the streaming service Shudder. If you don't know what that is, Google it. And sometimes we watch archive titles from Shudder. Again, if you don't know what Shudder is, Google it. This year, we wanted to once again release a new episode every single day in October, the same way we did last year. But we didn't have as much time to prepare, so we wisely said, let's do horror shorts this year. These are all shorts that exist outside the Shudder library, but we've got links available. If you check the description of every episode, including this one, you'll find a link that will allow you to watch the film that we're going to be talking about. You probably want to do that because we are going to spoil the heck out of this. There's no spoiler-free moment in this episode.
Spoil the heck out of it.
Oh, I didn't even see what I did there, you guys. That's Michelle, by the way. I realize I've just been tirading here. Look, this is the sixth one of these we've recorded tonight. We've been at it for almost 2.5 hours. And considering the film we're about to talk about, this could get a little weird. How you doing today, Michelle?
My cat was chasing her tail and ran into a wall, so I'm doing great.
I once had a cat that charged across the room to attack its reflection in a mirror.
Yeah.
Cannonballed directly into that mirror, fell backwards. It was hilarious. The cat probably concussed itself. That's not funny. But when you're 12 years old and you see a cat collide with its reflection at about 20 miles an hour, it's pretty fucking funny.
I think it's funny that they're these fierce feline predators, and we have domesticated them, and they have become idiots.
Right?
Huge
They've
fan
just
of that.
Oh my God. Complete dumbasses.
Beans and Samwise Gamgee would never survive 2 minutes in the jungle. Never survive. Plus, they have bells on. Like, everybody would hear them coming. They'd never catch a gazelle.
For that matter, my pup Riley would not survive in the wild either. This dog is 12 pounds. He's a cross between a dachshund and a Yorkie, and he tries to fight trucks. He's not a smart one. Not a smart one.
And cats. We have ruined them, evolutionarily speaking.
Yeah,
it's great.
Or have
like
we
Darwin,
made them
but in
awesome?
reverse.
Have we made them awesome, maybe,
Well,
Michelle?
dogs have evolved eyebrows in order to better communicate with humans, so probably.
Yeah, we've... do you use your powers for good or for awesome?
Let's see if Kyle Edward Ball used his powers for
I can't believe I just made
awesome.
a strong bad reference in 2023. Holy shit. Anyway, yeah. What are we talking about, Michelle?
Strong
We're talking
Bad
about,
has new content. He's
let's
relevant
not
again.
get... Don't let me derail this again, Michelle.
I just gotta tell you. Okay, so this is technically our third episode about Skinamarink.
It is.
It's technically our third episode. I'm just gonna tell you, hello. If you're not familiar with Heck, it is the short film of Skinamarink. Skinamarink is a full-length film that I am tired of defending, but I will adamantly defend it, and we'll get into that in a little bit.
Michelle,
so we're doing shorts.
Yeah. This one actually might end up being the shortest one we're going to do. But we're talking about Heck. If you've seen Skinamarink, it's a very polarizing film. People seem to either really, really enjoy it or really, really not. The short version is we saw it theatrically, and then we watched it again when it was released on Shudder for streaming. Michelle really enjoyed this film. I really did not. Is that more or less the summation of everything, Michelle?
For the sake of the opening of this episode, yes.
Okay, what did I get wrong?
Oh, no, it's going to require a way more in-depth analysis than I can provide right now. So
that's fair. So, guys...
I've developed even stronger opinions about Skinamarink.
Well, let's just get into it, Michelle. We don't have a spoiler-free section. Tell us your thoughts on Heck.
Yeah, so Skinamarink and Heck, if you haven't seen them, we're about to spoil them. Not that there's a lot of story to spoil. Here's where I think that it's not an accurate description. Can I just borrow the soapbox to stand on it for a second?
Have at it, Michelle. I've
Okay.
got some medicine to take.
Sweet. It's going to take me a second to get up there. I am short and pudgy and have very little legs. I also would not survive very long in the jungle. So, the reason that I defend this movie so hard is not that I defend it as a movie. And the similar thing with the short film, I don't defend these as movies or short films. I defend them as experiences. And I feel like if people got to enjoy this as an experience instead of thinking this is a movie with a story and characters and all of the things that we generally believe a movie would be, I think that they would enjoy that a lot more. I think that's why the YouTube version works a lot better. It does allow you to become a lot more engrossed in it for a shorter amount of time and just focus on this and not feel like you're wasting your time, as opposed to being stuck in a theater for an hour and a half not knowing what the fuck is going on. Because I have had time to develop a stronger feeling about Skinamarink, and heck, I have realized that I think part of the way that I feel that it works as an experience is because I really enjoy watching horror video games. And I feel like this is more that flavor of watching a horror video game or even playing a horror video game. But I can't do that because I'm a scaredy cat when it comes to horror video games. I watch other people play them and I really enjoy that. But thinking of it on those lines, like, it's very similar to me. It feels the same of a first person, very weird perspective, and whatever happens. I'm happy to go along on this weird experimental journey. I feel like Skinamarink got kind of screwed by being defined as like a scary movie. People went in with expectations and then it was weird, and it was too weird to be enjoyable. And I feel like with this and Outwaters both being very weird, divisive films that came out in the last year, that I hope we get more things that are considered like experiences rather than movies. I would like to see something like this in VR, for example. Heck, through VR goggles where you can look around as the child in this weird environment and go closer to the TV and really feel enveloped in this world would probably be a terrifying experience. Watching it as a movie or a short film does not have the same effect. So yeah, I will keep defending it. That said, this is my second time watching Heck. I've seen Skinamarink 2 or 3 times. I am way too Skinamarinked out of this. I did watch Heck at 2 times speed, and still not a lot happened. So I think if I never have to see either of them again, I'm happy. But I have also I've really delved into it and really analyzed it and had to figure out, why does this work for me? And it doesn't work for a lot of people. Climbing out the soapbox.
And like you mentioned, Skinamarink and the Outwaters, I think, will go down as being the most hotly debated films of the year. I guess my question, Michelle, is, I think I understand what you mean, where they should have tried to do something with the marketing of this to make sure people maybe understood what they were in for. But how are you not supposed to think of it as a movie when it's a movie that played in a movie theater? I guess I'm not sure. Do you have any ideas on how they would have even gone about that?
I think they could still do it in a theater, but if there was something to let you know, like they do other special events at theaters. For example, they do like more accessibility friendly nights where they're like, the lights are on, the sound's lower. Like they have ways of communicating with you outside of like a trailer or having a special event. If they had done this at the Fargo Theater instead of being a widely released thing at our large branch of Marcus Theaters, which is in our area, if they had done this at the Fargo Theater and said
art theater
a special, it's a much smaller, more indie thing, and that probably would have had a much better reception, even if they didn't market it as an experience. This is a movie. I think that crowd would have been way more receptive. They got screwed by doing this as a wide theatrical release instead of a small indie thing with the people who would appreciate it, i.e. me.
Yeah, I do. I think that's an interesting point. I never really considered that until you just mentioning it right now. But you may be right there. This may be a film where a theatrical release didn't necessarily do it any favors, because so much of the marketing that did happen was just people like, oh, it's the scariest thing I've seen in forever or whatever. And
Yep.
I don't want to spend a lot of time rehashing things I've said before, but this to me, what I would say is I feel like this works better in Heck than it does in the feature Skinamarink, but neither one of them really works for me. I don't want to say it's a bad film. I understand why people who like it. It's just not a kind of film like this is to me, honestly. And again, I understood what was happening. It's just too much of not enough is the way I would describe it. It's too much of not enough for my tastes. Even as a 30-minute film, this is still too much. I feel like you could have done this in 6 to 10 minutes tops, and I think it would be something that I would be able to say I really enjoyed that. But just because of the style of thing it's doing, it didn't connect with me at all. I can't fault the movie for that. It's obviously committed to what it's trying to do. I certainly appreciate somebody trying to do something unique and inventive. And even if that theatrical release wasn't necessarily the best choice for this film, I think that I still want to support any kind of indie horror going to the theater. So yeah, overall, I think Heck was better. Still just too much of not enough. The other thing I want to say, though, also, and I said this previously, is it definitely feels like when he was adapting from Heck to Skinamarink, it feels like he looked at Heck and said, no, this is not nearly impenetrable enough already. We need to make this so much more just dense, and what the fuck is even happening? What am I supposed to be taking from this right now? I feel like from a narrative perspective, or at least even from just understanding what I'm supposed to be seeing and experiencing, as you called it, I think that was a big part of my inability to connect with this. Is for a long time I wasn't even sure what I was supposed to be experiencing. But you know, I like I said, I totally understand why other people are really into it.
Yeah, like think about this being in an art gallery for like that's
absolutely.
where the premiere nights. Like I think they screwed themselves over by
this would be a
like,
perfect movie. This would have been a perfect movie for the VHS age, where you could have done something where it's just like again, just like a tape that people hear about, and every now and then you find out that your cousin's best friend's uncle has a copy, and you work for 6 months to try and figure out how you're going to be able to see it. Like, I think, yeah, but also, cool that it did get that opportunity.
Yeah. I do feel kind of bad that I hijacked this to talk about the full-length thing, but they're so similar that they go hand in hand.
Yeah. I think you can't discuss Heck without in the context of Skinamarink. Because
it's a little different from the other ones. They're the same. One spurned the other.
Right.
I think that making the full length, one thing that I can absolutely say that's actually about the short film is that, I guess it is about the full length, but taking out the line, "Mommy, I think we're in hell," when it converted to full length was a huge mistake, because that part of the short film is fucking chilling.
Right. That's the very end, right? That's like that's the last thing that happens. Is like, "Mommy, I think we're in hell."
If we had watched the whole thing, and there's a whole exchange at the end of Skinamarink, which I haven't rewatched recently, thank God. So I don't remember what that is. But if it had just been a very poignant, like 50 years have passed, "Mommy, I think we're in hell," people leaving that theater might have even had a slightly higher, like, "Oh shit, so that was an experience of hell?" That's what that was. Like they might have, instead of being like, "What the fuck did we just watch?" None of that makes sense. I feel like that does add a little bit more narrative than exists currently, and obviously not very much narrative either way, but
Right.
that line fucking chilled
and that's
me.
what I mean
Ugh.
is like obviously I understood that this was a kid, and something was happening where it seems like maybe he's having a weird sleepwalking nightmare or something, and so like I got all of that, but there was just a context, an overall through line that I mean, you know me, I need a story, and I didn't
Yeah.
really even heck, because like I say, I think it's definitely better than the feature. Even that, I think that line at the end is so crucial because that's the line where you actually finally get to understand what you've been seeing. Right, and there's also that line. Man, we're ended up talking about this one quite a bit. There's a line
told you. I had a
earlier
lot to
in the
say.
film. There's a line earlier in Heck in the short film, where the kid says, "I'm sorry I got cancer," and it's just one of the most gut-wrenching things. It's just like holy like that, and that to me, that just that little bit of context adds so much more to that experience of what's happening here.
Interesting, because I think when we talked about Skinamarink on one of the other episodes and I told you I had watched Tech, I thought you said that was like a cheap play on like your emotions.
I may have thought that at one point, but
yeah,
I've
that's why I
only
think
seen,
that's interesting.
I've only seen the film once before, and this is the second time that I've seen it. And if that's a complete turnaround, then I don't know. Maybe I mean I don't have a problem with that.
No,
but
absolutely.
No,
I don't think it's
watching
like a hypocritical thing. I think it's
Yeah.
interesting if your perspective has
Yeah,
changed,
just
and maybe
watching
because
it
you
this-
weren't just bombarded with Skinamarink.
Yeah, that might have been a part of it as well. But yeah, if this is your
Interesting.
vibe, then that's your vibe. If it's not your vibe, it's not. I really what I love about this film and also a film about like The Outwaters is it's a perfect place for me to preach the one thing that I'm so trying to do with myself these days, which is like I feel like language is so much more important than anybody realizes, and the way you talk about things is so important. And I don't want to say ever that like this is a bad film just
I'll
because
say
it didn't
Not about this one.
just because it didn't. And don't get me wrong, there are films where I'm just like, okay, this is ugh. I'll definitely get closer to it, but this is one where it's definitely it's either your thing or it isn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really think they screwed themselves over, and that's unfortunate because now next time that Kyle Edward Ball decides to do something experimental like this, people are going to be tainted by it, and I really hope that they have figured out a better way because God, I would have loved this as a art gallery or a Fargo theater or something besides telling me it's the scariest movie made, because that is not what happens. It is an unnerving movie, just like the short film is. I keep coming back to it. I'm sorry. I have strong opinions about both, and I have had to argue for the last like half a year, almost a year, about Skinamarink because people keep saying, "Oh, you like that movie?" And I go, "God damn it!" And I can't help myself.
There's
Can't help myself.
There's a film from last year that I kind of had the very same experience with, and I think you know which one that is. So I definitely know where you're coming from. We're
Which
all
one
going
was
to the
from
World's
last year?
Fair is the one I'm talking about.
Oh, see, exactly. Completely not my vibe
Right.
at all. So, yeah, we have very different, like, experimental films. And,
Well, and
yeah, because that one, I was like, how did you like that? Yep.
well, and ultimately, joke's on me because even though this is definitely not for me either the short or the feature version, my podcast has now done 3 fucking episodes about it. So good on you, Kyle Edward Ball. You got
I
people
love it.
talking. You got people talking, and that's honestly like so much more important in a lot of ways than everybody liking your movie. So it's
Yeah.
definitely a something to be commended.
Yeah, I mean, this movie, I didn't give a 5. I didn't even give close to a 5. I gave it a 2.75 when we did both. I think Skinamarink and Heck, I gave them both a 2.75 because they're the same. It's the same thing. But they're the things that I have thought about the most over the last year of like movies that I've seen. They're the ones I've talked about the most. It has kept my mind engaged well after the movie ended. And I just want that. I just want to keep thinking about things instead of being like, that was a cool ghost, and I never think about it again. I would rather have these divisive films that keep people talking and entertained. And I do need Kyle Edward Ball to have a second chance because I need him to have the opportunity to direct the House of Leaves movie. I feel like he's the only person who might be able to do it justice, and I will keep advocating because I need this weirdness presented to me in a different way so that I can truly get involved in that labyrinth with the Minotaur and all the weird fuckery of that book. I needed it in a movie so badly.
All right. I don't even have any idea what you're talking about right now, Michelle, but
hang on. I will just very quickly say that there is a type of book, I've forgotten the word for it, but it is where reading the book is not done in a traditional manner. Reading the book is like a difficult exercise where the words spin around the pages, or you have to read it backwards at a certain point, or it's different fonts, or suddenly a different language. And there's a specific word for it that I have right now forgotten. House of Leaves is one of those where you'll be reading and all of a sudden you're like, how the fuck am I supposed to read this page? And you have to go figure out like, oh, I'm working my way through the spiral and we're just talking about a kitchen. Like, what does this mean? It's meant to engage you in a way that like makes you question everything. And there's a whole subgenre of these ones where certain boxes in the pages are completely cut out and you're trying to piece together what was supposed to be there. There's a word for it. I will find it after this episode, I'm sure, but it's a very, very fun genre of book. They're very difficult to find. I need more of them, and House of Leaves is the first one that I read, and it is amazing. It's like Skinamarink, but as a book, where it's not going to be for everybody. It is a weird experience. And if you say like, wow, I like the House of Leaves book, people are like, how do you even read that? Like, people are confused by it. It is the Skinamarink of books, and I need Kyle Edward Ball to get on it.
All right. Maybe I'll have to take a look at that. Can you get it in
I have
audiobook
it. You can borrow
form?
it. God, no, absolutely not. I don't even, maybe it exists out there, but the audiobook would just be like somebody droning on. You need the physical book. I have it. I will gladly lend it to you. I just need it back. Mine isn't like an expensive, cool version. I wish I had the cool, expensive version, but you can absolutely borrow mine. It is a wild, fun thing to experience. So,
awesome.
Skinamarink books, House of Leaves. Check it out.
We came a long way. That's a capstone on week 1. Shorts that became
and a capstone
features.
on Skinamarink.
We're
episodes.
never gonna mention it by name again. Who am I kidding? Yes,
Skinamarink. Get it out of your system. Skinamarink. It's done forever.
Skinamarink.
Slamming that cover shut. Skinamarink. Don't.
Again, I've said it before. I
so
think I
funny.
said it on both of those other episodes. That, whether you enjoyed the movie or not, was the most brilliant review of the film, of maybe any film I've ever seen, is when our dear friend Aaron walked out of that movie theater and just posted, Skinamarink don't.
God, I hate how funny he is. That's my best friend.
Perfect.
For people who don't know, I posted that I loved bumblebees and they were the best bees yesterday, and he said, yeah, but you're really good at spelling bees. And I was so mad because I'm a 2-time spelling bee champion, and I was so mad. I didn't even respond. I didn't react. I hate how funny he is.
I'm really good at spelling bees too. It's BEES.
Say goodnight, JD.
Good night, JD.
Wait. Do we need to give a number for this?
Oh, yes, we do. Oh, shit.
I'm just going to go with 2.75. That's why because this time was like a 1 because I'm so tired of watching it.
Yeah, I don't know what I gave Heck when we talked about it earlier. Did we even give Heck numerical ratings on that episode? I know I didn't really care for Skinamarink. I don't remember. I'm going to give Heck, just again for my experience of it, 1.5.
Oh, that's even higher than I thought it would be for you, because it is not your flavor of tea.
No, it's not, but I have to respect that. There were little things about it that I did enjoy.
We have managed to make it through recording 6 episodes tonight.
In one
For those of
night.
you listening, we recorded 6 of them in a single night. We had
First
multiple
week.
audio issues.
Shorts becoming features. We did them all. Just bam, 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 bam.
Yep.
Bam.
We'll do the
Was that
next
6
month
bams?
tomorrow.
I hope it was 6
I
bams.
don't know. I can't count that many.
Are we
going
going
to
do the
1 in
next
the
ones
morning.
tomorrow? Is that the plan?
No, please no. Please no.
We have
It was
a new
joke.
episode to watch or
Please
to
don't
play.
make me.
Oh God.
I need to recover. I had to watch so many shorts today.
Yeah.
I think I need a break, but
With that,
like
do we want to? Do you think at this point people already know what the theme is next week? Would we have released any kind of promotional material that tells them what the theme for next week is?
Well, we can decide right now because that's in the future and I am in the past, and whatever we decide right now is what we will go forward with.
Well, let's just assume they already know. Let's give them the whole month to actually watch things. You know, maybe they gotta take a. So of course, next week we start up our second theme, which at this point you already know, is the short films of Ari Aster, much lauded director. Recently, he broke through with Hereditary. Did a film called Midsommar. Had his third feature, Beau is Not Afraid, just premiere earlier this year. I still have not had a chance to see Beau is Not Afraid because I've been waiting to watch it with a very dear friend of mine. But I have decided that if we're not able to get it watched together, I am going to watch it on my own before we record the episode about the Beau short, because that is one of the 6 that we are going to be talking about. Anyway, just Michelle and I both big fans of Ari. I know he's also kind of divisive amongst horror fans because he does that quote-unquote elevated horror, which I've talked about as a terminology I hate. But we're going to be spending a whole week watching and talking about the shorts of Ari Aster.
Yep, and I have seen them all. I'm very excited for you to check them out.
I have not seen a single one of them. I still have not watched any of them. I'm going to get those all watched, and very much looking forward to talking about Ari's films next week.
Yep, they are super, super different from one another. So with only having 3 full-length films, if you've seen all 3, you know how different his styles can be. The shorts, even more so. He just can explore so many different genres, and I think we're going to have fun just going through his work.
For sure.
I'm looking forward to talking about it with somebody instead of just raving alone in my house about these movies.
The void.
That's just, I'm yelling at my cats like, oh my God, how did the short film Beau become Beau is Afraid? This is so different. And yeah, I'm scaring them. They're just like, Mom, what's going on? I'm like, I'm not your mother. I stole you from your real mother. That's a John Mulaney joke that I heard last week and I laughed so hard.
That's fabulous. Say goodnight, Michelle.
Really good night, Michelle.
We Watch Shudder is a production of Rat Factory Media, your home for all of today's Rat Factoryist podcasts. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests of We Watch Shudder are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Rat Factory Media. But wait, aren't Rat Factory Media and We Watch Shudder the same people? Shut your cake hole, Charlie. Nobody asked you. We Watch Shudder is available free on all major podcast platforms, and the easiest way to support We Watch Shudder is also free. Just leave a rating and review on your platform of choice. Merge your consciousness with ours on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We're at We Watch Shudder on all those social media platforms. Or find us the old-fashioned way, on the web at WeWatchShudder.com or by email at mail@WeWatchShudder.com. Heck, you can even leave us a voicemail at 701-566-9510. No, seriously, 701-566-9510. Try it if you dare.